Hey friendos, welcome back! Hey DWX and Powers and Spacey and Eben and Static and Oliphant. Sorry I'm late again. I feel like my life is spiraling further and further out of control. Sort of like Stanley's. I feel a kinship with Stanley. But we're here now. At this rate, we'll be playing hey newbie! At this rate, we'll be playing Stanley forever. My mother woke me up this morning.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
We don't need to hear that again. We have a skip button, which is great. My mother woke me up this morning with a link to a listing of a house near my grandfather's that is like $60,000 more than my worst case scenario. So that was my alarm clock. And apparently my landlord is having an open house in 2 weeks. Which is a little fast. And Zeno likes to be able to get out, like, of the house. Zeno is an escape artist. What's a good thing? An open house? No. No, that's a bad thing. Because that means the house that I live in right now is going to get sold to somebody else. And then I'm going to have to get out before I have a house that I can buy. Oh, the higher listing? No, that's not good either. Because there's only a moderate amount of, concession that they're willing to give me. So if the house is more than I can afford, it is more than I can afford, and there is nothing I can do about that. No, I didn't have cat ass in my face, although Zeno likes to curl up aggressively next to you, start purring like a rock crusher, and then kick you with his little stupid rabbit feet right in your kidneys. So he woke me up that way. Not with butthole, but with just moving, constant moving. So yeah. I mean, theoretically it would be better, because if it appraised real high, and then everybody was willing to just walk away from a whole shit ton of money, yeah, that would be great. The bank would love that. I'd love that. But they're not willing to walk away from a whole shit ton of money. And the market is garbage. And my mother's like, what'd she say? Do you think you'd rather wait out the recession and, you know, see if the market improves in the future? And I'm like, bitch, I graduated high school into a recession. My whole life's been a recession. This isn't getting better. This isn't gonna get better. But, so that's what I've been thinking about all day long. I remember that we couldn't read these in the original. I like that we can read them now. Alright. Not sure if we should follow the new content thing, or maybe we should, like, actually play the game the way it's supposed to be. We beat the game with the bucket. I don't know. What path do you guys want to... What do you want... Where do you want me to go? I can't, like... I guess I could make you make all the decisions.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, at every juncture, I'm going to wait for input. The first person's input that I see will be...
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Figurine... Oh! Figurine Finders Committee. That's funny. I read it before, but I didn't, like, process it. Thanks, Static. It's fine. I just might not have somewhere to live. It's okay. Should I take the bucket? I can go back for the bucket. Which computer? I already clicked them. Or maybe I'm just expecting lag. Ah, crap. Oh, I can go back. Okay, take the bucket.
The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest
Left
and
or right?
entered the door on his left.
I feel like there's probably not enough people here to make this fun and not terrible. Right?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
Well, we were probably supposed to go to the meeting room to get a
And here it
statue.
was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Left or right? I guess I could just... The next thing that was said was right, so I guess I could just take that.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Down or straight? Up. That's true. I did want to see that. Whee! Trust the completionist instinct. There will be a reward for finding them all. Produce one plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct a new structurally sound bridge. We need more planks. So there's something in the warehouse that we can build a bridge about? Excuse me? Places to search. Inside of the sequel exhibit. A large room. Lots of boxes? Stairs. Something to do with stairs. Somewhere both red and blue. Is this some kind of game? Gotta collect them all. 5 there be. Just take 3 from me. Looks like 427? Oh, maybe that's me. There must be a point to this. Who are you? There will be cleaning of this wall required. I want them so much. I want to go home. Stop kidding yourselves. This was worth it. Please do not leave the office before reporting back on any new findings. Teamwork and communication are of great importance during this unprecedented time of investigation. Thank you. Oh, I should have put the other pants on. Hang on, I gotta put the other... Just gotta put the jammies on before I start streaming every time. Maybe we are the collectibles. To whom it may concern, I managed to pick up sounds unusual to our regular office ambience or local audio sources using an array of cardioid microphones, also known as directional mic, a microphone which picks up sound from a particular area. Analysis of the recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that, in all likelihood, it's coming from a dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be a reverberance off a porcelain surface. Anyone have any leads on this? Wouldn't you like to know? Why wouldn't they just tell us something will happen? This investigation, this room, they feel pointless, to be honest.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Something
Coming
about
to a
stairs,
staircase,
right?
Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Well, we might as well go this way now.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him. Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket. Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket. Come to me, Stanley. Find me. He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
I feel like the answer to that is yes.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Great. So happy for Mariella. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Oh, goddamn.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I should have taken the right-hand side. This is too... Alright, we got this one. I don't know if this ever does anything. It's a luminous sheet of paper. Well, I don't have a reticle. Oh, there it is.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation,
I don't think there's
Stanley
anything
may have
else.
broken down into an emotional dumpster fire, if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
We actually have to do
Even
here.
now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos.
We did the executive bathroom.
It would be
I was
with
just
him
in there
always.
2 seconds ago.
The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss
Well, we
of
haven't
simply being
escaped.
near the
We haven't done the
bucket, Did he
escape.
have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845?
Well, I can't get back out. A wall panel that looks like a door? In the executive bathroom? I didn't think there was anything else there.
Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Stanley. Do, 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 do,
The
do.
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him.
Okay, we definitely have to go to the warehouse.
Reassuring
yeah,
that
after
in
this.
his darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Infinite hole? Falling down into aperture. I don't remember this.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Beautiful. The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void. But through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness?
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
25 buckets. Wait, what? A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. A bucket with two handles. This bucket is depicted as having two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Hey, guest of Taurus. Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains: no one can control a bucket. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already likely been around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. The stress bucket, an analogy. Worrying, negative forecasting, negative thinking, lack of reassurance. Vulnerability equals size and strength of the bucket. Stress, the level of water in the bucket. Coping strategies equals holes. Rest and relaxation, doing something you enjoy. Presented without commentary. I like how it draws you to the other side with light, and then I like how we completely ignored that.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
I'm gonna go down all these fucking hallways. The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance, inevitability, is for our own good. What? I expected to jump. We didn't.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
Hey, Walker. Got squanched.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Well, no, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back, and so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, somebody's yelling outside again.
Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh, sounds like they're fighting. I'm gonna make sure I don't have to call the cops. I'll be right back. Want to move. I'm always disappointed when they spend like 5 solid minutes screaming like, well, let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, come on, let's do it or don't. Let's go. Or go. Just, come on. Anyway, sorry guys. Oh. Oh, good lord, shut up.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
I wish I could seamlessly transfer the stream to my phone and we could watch the drama outside. This is a room full of boxes.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
All the people that live around my grandfather's house are old. They don't have the energy for yelling in the streets.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
Is it like the incinerator?
Go ahead now, Stanley.
Is this going to be the worst day of my life?
Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
They shouted anyway.
Destroying buckets is all it knows.
I'm quite positive.
That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Oh God. That startled me a little.
The Bucket Destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Anyway, I'm positive that all of the old folks around my grandfather's house did not do any yelling, because I would have heard about it.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Should we go back and try to destroy the bucket?
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him.
And then after that, we have to check out
the
the warehouse.
employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here
Ooh,
it
they
was.
slapping.
Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this?
I don't know why I keep craning my head. I
Never
can't see
mind.
the
bucket
ground.
was wrong.
I can see the neighbors
Stanley took the
rubbernecking
door on his
from
left
their
to go back to the meeting room, and so the two of them
second floor
detoured
porch.
through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
I know.
It's
We do
this
have a security
bucket
camera
you're
out front.
carrying
We have
around
several
everywhere.
security cameras.
The bucket isn't even from the original
Because of
Stanley Parable.
reasons.
It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who
Hate that
knows
so
where
much.
it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do
Is this
it for
different?
the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more
Or was I just not
content
paying
exactly
attention last
like
time?
this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh, no, this is the same.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer.
I hope we get the same achievement.
I think it'll make a wonderful
we get in
new
Portal.
addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into
Oh, it
the
won't let
machine
me.
when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket.
No.
Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality
Well,
trait.
I don't think we're going to be
I
able
can hear
to.
you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pack?
Oh, well.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Where are we
Almost
going
forgot the
today?
bucket.
The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him.
Yeah, they have
Stanley
to sell the
clutched
bucket, right? Like,
tightly to his this was not
they
the
have
correct
to.
way
They
the
have
meeting
to make a
room.
bucket.
But Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be
That will make
correct,
them so
was
much
this
money.
No, never mind.
$5
Bucket
tin
was
bucket
wrong. Stanley took the
with
door on
2
his
stickers
left
on
to
it?
go back to the meeting room.
Come on. Fucking no-brainer.
No, said the bucket. Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
I wonder what happens if we kill ourselves.
Now run.
But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms.
Beautiful.
How deeply
Meaningful.
touching. Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others, so the thought of total solitude was terrifying to him.
I guess we're just never going to get the computer thing again.
A good bucket. A strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course,
Oh,
because
fuck.
buckets can't talk.
Shit.
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I was like, there's boxes in here. I have no idea how to get out of there. Guess we'll find
In
out.
here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone, and it will take us back home.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone? Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders? Stanley, I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke? It's funny, Stanley. A talking bucket.
Is there a cable?
Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it. But there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit, with one of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic timing. To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time. With these steps complete, it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
I'm Dunny with the funny.
Good. This saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble cause, just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well, no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So, with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back. I can feel it. This time,
It's
I'm
gone.
really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous.
Oh, and there's
How
a
absurd.
fence
what
around
a
it.
hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we had the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now. Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley. The bucket spoke. The bucket spoke. Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
This is so bizarre to go backwards. I don't know why this is the weirdest part of the game so far.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left.
What should we...
No. You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings from now on. All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
Okay.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. No. You were supposed
Damn.
to go through the door on the right, leading back.
Oh, thank God.
Here we go.
Fine.
You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of two open doors, they entered the door on the left. What? We're back at the phone already? No. What's going on? There were supposed to be several rooms leading up to this. There was supposed to be a build-up to this point, a dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit which culminates in this scene with the phone. But now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land, well, not the way it was meant to. And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the two doors room. What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing. I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again. Yes, surely that will help me improve my...
Stanley, you love the bucket bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again, Stanley. I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so metal. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this. I'm no good at these jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Beautiful. Okay, I guess let's go answer the phone?
My God, the bumpscosity in here is absolutely overwhelming. 1,000? You people have got to be nuts. How can you stand this much bumpscosity? The embrace of an old friend. A weathered companionship that stands the test of time. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket
Did
was
we
wrong.
get all of the
Stanley
additional
took the door on his
content?
left
I
to
don't
go
remember
back to the meeting room.
where the extra, the additional content
said the
hallway
bucket.
was. Ah,
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all.
I want
You
it to be an
can't go back
amiibo.
to when you had no
Can we
Figler
put it
and
on the
Marines.
Switch and can it be an
None of us
amiibo?
can.
I want it to erase all your save data. Stanley for Smash, yes. "500 tons of raw copying power!" Ink is printer blood. It means every time you print a document, it's written in blood. Think on that. Printing is a blood sport. Vegans shouldn't print. Printers are alive. The day of ink, it is known in the annals, for scarcely has a day seen so much wanton inkshed. A baleful sun rose upon the printer camps, where at once 2,000 photocopier cavalry emerged from the mists. The printers had believed them still a week away, and yet here they were with fury in their hearts. The heavy cavalry was followed by 10,000 foot copiers. It is said that the fields were multicolored with ink for years after the day of horror. To this day, some locals report hearing the ghastly sound of printer errors upon the old battlefield. I'm a messenger from the printer. Hello! Printers get a lot of stick for not being as simple as they were in the early noughties. I hate the word the naughties. They get a lot of hate for refusing to print when only one of the ink cartridges is empty. Do you think that's their call? They didn't design themselves. Educate yourself before you cast shade. Hey, Zen. How do you turn that into an amiibo and sell it, though? Do you just get the puck on the bottom? Or is it a bucket? What does the amiibo look like? Narrator dialogue. Just the puck. Perfect. Perfect. I don't hear one in here. Hey, Crunk.
Okay.
I totally
This is
understand.
Tape number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket,
Is this Stanley?
the
Are we hearing
less
Stanley?
sense anything makes.
I just want it on the record. They're still yelling outside.
Sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket.
Sounds like they're in my lawn. Hang on.
It's my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there?
Okay, now there's like 6 people on the porch next door, and one of them keeps screaming, "I'm 11." I'll be right back. So I think the 11-year-old is actually 11, because now the moms are getting into it. I don't know what happened. But there's also like 4 or 5 kids out there too who are not helping. Like shitty kids, you know, not shitty kids who are actively not helping. Anyway, I hope that ending was great. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly.
Oh boy.
Thank you again for contacting the
This is
Future
like
Happiness
extremely
Foundation.
stressing me out right now. I don't like it when there's fighting next door and Grid's not home. Not that I think anybody is going to come over here and fuck with me. I just like... If somebody gets knifed, I don't know enough about emergency triage to help. That's my concern. If somebody gets injured, I don't really feel confident in my ability to do anything about that.
The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better co-worker. In time, perhaps, he would become both of those things. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Oh, now there's like 8 children screaming, "Crackhead! Crackhead! Crackhead!"
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket. This is the sad story.
That sounds
of a man
hard. I
named
wouldn't want to do
Stanley
it.
And his bucket. Once upon a time, I
That
gave
is true.
Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely.
Why can I
and
not
needs
hear
a
the
friend.
narrator? Oh, because I
And
turned my
then,
volume down so
very
I could hear them scream
distressingly,
crackhead.
He began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
I played the demo. This is adorable. I need a hug.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
What was the first? It was PBY, right? Maybe we should keep track of that?
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. You see, he's not listening. He's still taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Where's the bucket? It's a cute little apartment, though. But really, where's the bucket? Can't find it. Oh.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it. Yes, I suppose on
EBYCNI?
closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another. Oh my God, what am I saying?
Oh God.
Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket? Oh no. I'm having feelings for the bucket. No. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand.
Why does this feel like PT suddenly?
Perhaps if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes. The bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need it. Give it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
I don't even know what that could be. PBYCNIBR.
How long was I sitting there? Stanley wondered to himself. Minutes? Days? Centuries? Did something crucial happen while my senses were turned? He made a note to be more careful with time from now on. Not everyone is so lucky to have a bucket.
Okay.
But Stanley is a very lucky fellow. Very lucky indeed.
I don't... You guys remember what the last... I guess we could go to the meeting room and look again.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
No, it's red and
entered the
blue.
door on
So we
his
have to
left.
go to the red and blue doors?
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling
No, we already
to
took
him,
the bucket there,
telling
and we
him
can't?
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yeah, good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Okay, this is the room.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no
Maybe we
buckets
can't bring the
past
bucket.
this point. Stanley, how could you think it was
'Cause we already
okay
did
to bring
this.
the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't...
Okay. No, we're not doing this one again. No. Sorry. No.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. It was okay.
It was okay.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Wow. That was so finely tuned. That was so effectively scripted that coming out of that scene into this room was so viscerally disappointing. That was just, oh, that's beautiful. Hey, CDE. Welcome. I know, no rewards for us, alas. Oh, that was so good. Do I feel rewarded by how disappointed I feel? I feel a lot of emotions.
Now listen carefully, this is important.
Is there anything else
Stanley
that we're gonna get
walked
out of this?
through the red door.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Is there more that I haven't gotten?
Thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
Well, we took the blue door last time.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here, yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
Well,
No, wait. Where are you going? Oh no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me.
oh yeah, I feel like I
Please,
have
Stanley, think about what you're doing.
done everything.
No! Oh, thank God. No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was
This is
before.
horrible.
If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly?
I think we've redone every normal ending. Or every original ending. We redid every possible ending with the bucket. I definitely appreciate the content warnings. I think that's a smart
I
move.
don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get
I wonder what happens
along,
if the content
but I guess that was too
trigger
much
is
to
on.
ask.
I wonder
It
if this
looks
is
like you
replaced
wanted
with
to
something
make a
else or if it's
choice
just
after
cut.
all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
So yeah, we've done all of the... Wait, this is different.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Hey, Drazar. Been an exciting evening. Want to open this. I still think this should be a screenshot of your profile. That would be so horrible. Probably not possible. Okay, nothing else looks different. Except this.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
This is so effective. Whoops.
And here was a second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the boss's bathroom. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
The third? I don't. Under stairs was way later. So it must be the boss's office. I don't remember there being one in the boss's office. Maybe not.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here, behind the boss's office. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
This is the worst video I've ever seen. Best boy, the narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else. And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
I get to go through both doors.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Oh god.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction.
No.
See how that feels.
I don't want to put him back.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue
Oh,
doors.
God.
I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more. And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched? Yes, I love that video.
Still surprised I haven't fallen off this. I don't really have a good sense of where my feet are.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
It is a nice room. Very pretty. This feels like super luminal. Remember with the apple? Or all the apples?
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Is this my life forever now? I wonder what would have been down here. I wonder if it would have been anything.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this? Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
I was kind of hoping the timer would tick back, or the counter would tick back, so we could have more jumps. More jamps. Ooh, thought we were gonna do a superliminal there for a second and go into a secret area.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go.
I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much.
Is it gonna wipe my game?
This is
It's gonna wipe my hard drive?
of a man named Stanley.
Well,
Quite a pleasant amount of bumpscosity we've got today, wouldn't you say? Very enjoyable.
I don't know what to do. I did. Yes. I guess I didn't get to the mind control facility and try to... I don't remember which button I pushed. I have adjusted the bumpscosity, yes. He commented that it was 1,000 last time. Climbed out the window.
It takes a lot of humility to carry a bucket so magnificent. Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded onward.
New content was this door, I think, right? Or it was in here or something. But it's gone. I think the new content door is just
Stanley
gone.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Well, I guess I want to see the meeting room again. Is it...
Still no one was here.
Damn.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
I don't remember what the deal is with this elevator. Every time we've been in it, it hasn't gone anywhere, but I don't remember if it ever did. Does the broom closet actually get an ending? We stayed in the broom closet for a long time, and then went in the broom closet again. And then got the stickers on the bucket in the broom closet. I clicked on the door. I don't think this actually does anything. Oh yeah, no, go for it. Please, at this point, feel free.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket
Weird in
knew
the big
all
TV
along?
room?
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes.
I don't think
this is
so.
certainly the most logical
I followed
explanation.
it. Played the 8 game, yep. Oh wait, unless you mean something different than inputting 8 times into the boss's keypad. That we
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. But just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility,
Is this
he
doable in the
tripped
first one?
and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket,
I guess it can't
which
be.
safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here. So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here, a bit cold perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well, and a sort of kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving panini.
I do often crave a good panini.
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind
I
control
remember doing
facility.
this the first go round.
This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley could think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the ground. The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually. It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Okay, well, we'll do that immediately without the bucket then, because I don't
Even
think I ever
now,
got that.
Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like?
Which is weird,
Was a
because I
computer
swear the last
perhaps?
time
And a painting.
we played...
Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
Stanley
the
cradled
last
the
time we
bucket
did
in a
this.
gentle embrace, protective,
Oh, crap.
yet delicate, assertive, yet compassionate.
I didn't mean to grab the bucket. I was thinking about the computers.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone?
Well, is there anything further to do with the bucket in the TV room? I don't want to just restart the game in case that restarts our computer, because I don't remember what the
Stanley
deal with the
clutched
computer
bucket
is.
tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Bucket or no bucket? Okay, great. Yeah, I don't know how we didn't
Still
get...
no one
I'm
was
pretty sure I
here.
don't have the achievement
Stanley
of got
needed
all
the
the
bucket's
endings.
warmth and comfort
But I
now
assumed
more
that
than
that was
ever.
because I just hadn't
Perhaps his
done...
boss's office was where he'd
the
find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket
speedrun
walked
ending or
upstairs
whatever,
to the boss's
if that's
office.
a separate ending.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
Got it.
Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yeah, I thought we had somebody when we played it to get the 5-year achievement. I thought it was Grid, like literally sitting with the walkthrough with a list of the endings.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
That's fair.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
Pirate. Oh. Oh. Oh, I remember this. I remember this. Yep. Or I don't remember this, but... Do I remember this? And there's just new bucket dialogue? This feels right. Didn't even notice that.
His own life in someone else's control? Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Okay,
Stanley
we
decided
did this,
that
but I don't remember
machinery
which button
would
we
never
pushed.
again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley
I
and the
think
bucket,
we pressed
up
off
against
because it
the
almost let us
world.
out and didn't.
They high-fived, but at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Yeah, this is different.
Stanley gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
Yes!
How could the bucket have betrayed him like this? Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen. Birds. Silly, silly birds. The control buttons became
Carl.
active again. Stanley flipped through one video of silly birds after another, and then it dawned on him. This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds all over the world. The mind controls were only a facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along? Stanley marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place, flipping through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable. Of all the possible paths his life could have taken, this one was surely the best. And Stanley was happy.
Beautiful. Okay. I think that's it. I guess let's check the Okay, so this is the only thing we haven't done. I think this is what I was remembering. I have jumped off the desk without the bucket. Suppose I haven't tried to jump off the desk with the bucket. Oh, a bucket. I'm sorry. I got out the window without the bucket. I haven't tried to get out the window with the bucket. I don't think there's a way out of here unless you restart.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Not in
Yet
this.
there was not a single
Not in the Ultra
person here
Deluxe.
either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Stanley stepped into the broom closet,
We did
but
that.
there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
God damn it.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward.
I don't know if this is just a
into the
local thing,
opened
well,
passageway.
regional thing or what, but I understand what new age music is. I get that as a genre, but what I don't understand is the grocery store still has a lane titled new age beverages. What the fuck is a new age beverage? I mean, I get it, kinda. It's like all the fucking energy drinks and little bottled coffees and things like that, but I don't understand why we're using new age as the descriptor in this situation. Did they only have water in 1990? Like, what? What is the qualification for new age beverages?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Shit, does it? I was so upset about beverages.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have... Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the mind control facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content?
Yes.
Always more content, more, more. And I'm here to give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game, with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good job. 3, 2, 1.
Want that to be my cell phone ringtone?
You made it to the bottom of the mind control facility. You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful. It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending.
Can't wait to get DMCA.
I believe in you. I believe in your
I bet YouTube won't let
ability to
me
cross
post this.
barrier and chase your dreams. But railings don't mean anything. Good job, you did it. 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 Good job, you did it.
Hey, Sarah. You got here for best ending.
Well, I'm quite feeling the lack of bumpscosity in here. Only a single bumpscot hit. Still, it'll have to do.
Ah, fuck. Epilogue? No, the tone I'm trying to get across is I haven't noticed anything else that I haven't done. Let me know if you see something before I do. I did look up how long it theoretically takes, and it said 4 to 8 hours, so I think we only managed 2 yesterday before I had to go. This track is awesome. I sure do love sustained tones. Are we in the Talos Principle? And that's a game I wish I could play for the first time again. Like so many, I enjoyed my time with the original Stanley Parable, which underscores how truly disappointed I am with its sequel. Where the first game teamed with originality, the Stanley Parable 2 is dull, uninspired, and often insulting to its fan base. Rather than expand on what made the first game enjoyable, the sequel veers off into territory nobody asked for. An infinitely deep hole? Who cares? Where are the new endings? What about the enjoyable bits from the Stanley Parable 1, like the adventure line? Instead, we get an uninspired side quest collecting figurines. Even this diversion feels incomplete. Collecting all the figurines gives you nothing. I must say, though, I found the bucket to be quite comforting and a welcome reprieve. Damn you. Only the review part really felt frustrating to me as a viewer, as a...
Jim.
Stanley Parable developers, no more spin-offs, no more sequels. When the Stanley Parable launched to massive success in 2013, its creators made plans to build the property into an entire franchise. But a disastrous critical and commercial reception to the Stanley Parable 2 has prompted the developers to rethink their ambitions, as outlined in a press release they published today. It's clear that more Stanley Parable is just not what the fans want, reads the press release. We thought that we had a vision for the series that players would be excited about, yet it turns out this could not have been further from the truth. The press release goes on to promise to preserve the artistic integrity of the original game and to stop assaulting fans with our reckless and insulting creative visions. The word sorry appears more than 25 times in the press release. Yeah, the only parts that I find a little... I feel like cringy isn't quite the right word, but...
Jim.
Just a little more meta than I want it to be. Kind of feels... It has the same vibe as Borderlands 3 with the, oh, did you know streamers fucking suck? Do you know how much content creators suck? As I'm sitting here fucking streaming the game. Okay. Like, yes. Okay. This makes me happy. Hello again. It's nice to see you. But it's terrible to learn that there will never be another Stanley Parable game. Did you read what the developer said? Preserve the integrity of the franchise? What nonsense. The Stanley Parable is not sacred. We do not need to protect it. Screw the legacy. Let's keep making Stanley Parable games until the sun explodes. Let's run this franchise into the ground. Let's drag it through the mud and back. And if people hate it, who cares? Hi. You see, that was the narrator's problem. He was so obsessed with what people thought of his work. Don't make his mistake. Don't cling to the legacy. Let it burn. It's not hard. In fact, let me show you. Thank you. No, don't wipe the snot on me. You're disgusting. Together, we're going to make the Stanley Parable 3. It's simple. All we do is change the number in the game's title screen. We also really need a really dumb subtitle for the game, something loud and gaudy. Go ahead, try combining some random words together to make a new title for our game. Okay, I really like Stanley's big mind control machine, but I also like Fistful of Scorpion. Dealing with the telephone. The Stanley Parable 3. The end is never the scorpion. It's absurd. I love it. Hey, TCP. It is going. Every time you restart the game, we'll advance the number of the sequel by 1, and then we'll pick a new subtitle. That way, the Stanley Parable will never end. And nothing in the game itself will change when you do this, either. Adding more content sounds like work. No need to do that. It'll just be the same content, recycled again and again and again with a new title screen. What do you say? Should we go forward with this plan? I like it, but I want you to have a say as well. Let's do it. Good, then it's agreed. A new sequel every time you start the game. Do you know what? Since we've put faith in my idea, I feel like giving you something as well. I hear you, TCP. I totally get that impulse. You see, I'm noticing that the narrator never found a way to give you the broken achievement, did he? Of course not. I wouldn't expect him to know how. It's been bothering me. Let's fix it. Ah, there. The achievement machine is all fixed. You see? I'm on your side. We're in this together. We're gonna keep this train rolling. The Stanley Parable cannot end. It can only spiral in on itself forever. I must keep the wheel turning. I'm ready. Are you ready? Great. There's only one last thing we need to do. Thank you. Please enjoy the Stanley Parable. No, I did play the original.
This is the All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah, Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need.
Oh, the new content door is back. I was going to do something else, but...
Oh,
New content? What does that mean, new content?
This seems like the same. No? Oh, is that how we got to the achievement machine?
Stanley took the bucket with him into this little hallway and closed the doors. This was their hideout. No one would ever find them here. Of course, no one would ever find them anyway because everyone was missing. But Stanley chose to ignore this fact and instead focus on how cool the hideout was. Just him and the bucket, two renegade heroes against the world, inside their secret, undetectable hideout, here, next to room 417. What a treat.
I want to go that way.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you
this
may
is
know,
long.
the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
I'm so glad I got my hands on a
reimagining
physical
game
copy
for
of the Stanley
consoles
Parable.
and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable.
I feel like that's a good
delighting
tattoo.
audiences the world over. Please step inside and
Yes.
see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Wait, Stanley, I've just now realized. That bucket you're holding, it's the bucket I've been working on for my sequel. How did you get your hands on it? Isn't this the preview to the sequel? How do you have the bucket already? This makes no sense at all. Hold on. Did I already show you my ideas for the sequel? I don't remember doing that at all. You're seeing things all out of order. All right, let's see, it's the jump circle?
Still sad I don't have any jump left. I wish I'd saved
The
some.
infinite hole, the giant door, did you see them already? Stanley, none of them are ready yet. I'm still developing them. They're not even close to finished. How did they look when you saw them? Were they captivating? Were they exciting? Did they fulfill on the promise of everything that a sequel to Stanley Parable could possibly be? Had I figured out how the hell to make a sequel to this game?
I got to the bottom of it. Several times.
Wait, if you're still carrying the bucket around with you, if the bucket is interesting to you, that means I must have made it correctly. Yes, you carrying the bucket with you everywhere is exactly what I set out to accomplish. The bucket is the exciting and captivating new content that I promised. I did it! I win! I made a sequel to the Stanley Parable! Yes, the sign is correct. Thank you for enjoying the new content. Thank you for taking the bucket everywhere with you, clinging tightly to the bucket, never letting it go. It means I've won. It means I am victorious over the gamers. It is a sweet salve of victory on my soul. Thank you for enjoying the new content. The bucket is the Stanley Parable now. They are one and the same. There is no Stanley Parable without the bucket. I win, 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 I win.
Oh my god, every time I look at my phone when I'm sitting here at the desk, I'm like, ha! I don't have any actors here! I don't need my phone here! I'm not on call right now! It's a good feeling every time. Okay, so I want that achievement, though.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all? No, no, surely not.
Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear. We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self. The bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history, of the countless wars it witnessed, desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein, of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much it could have done, perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself. Perhaps, if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No,
Said the bucket.
not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of... No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
As Stanley screamed and screamed and screamed, the bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like... My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come, let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Fuck. Wonder if I can get fast enough. Ooh. Wonder if I can go fast enough to get around that door. Nope, still not yet.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on
Couldn't
the
think of
Stanley
anything else,
Parable
but
and about how
we keep
roundly
discovering.
disappointing this ultra deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this ultra deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
No, that's the point. I didn't bring the
Yes, you
bucket.
see, isn't this far
Did
superior
that on
to a
purpose.
measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes. You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. As you can see, the machine is not
Test
working
achievement,
yet.
please ignore.
What? Wait, what in the holy hell is going on? You got the achievement? Why did the machine work? Stanley, I didn't fix it. I didn't do anything to it. I swear, it was broken just a second ago. Who fixed it? Is someone...
Oh, thank you, Grid.
God.
If you're gonna get cheese and you stop somewhere, you could get ginger beer too, maybe?
Yes, as you can see, the machine is
You don't have
working
to.
as normal, as
Do whatever you
I
want, Grid.
intended.
Be safe.
It truly speaks to the awe-inspiring magic of the Stanley Parable 2. Breathe. Just breathe.
Ah!
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Well, see, we're moving, hopefully. Well, we're moving either way, but hopefully we're moving somewhere we want to move and not into another shitty apartment. But I'm sure we're trying to drink through the liquor cabinet. Not with the cheese. The cheese is not related to that. I'm just a big old snob now, and I can't put shaker cheese on my macaroni anymore. It has to be fresh Parmesan.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Why?
Infinite falling. You can fall until the end
We did
of
this.
time if you like.
I don't want to do
A
this
stunning
again.
leap
I
forward
expected
for
it to be
video games
closed.
as a medium.
Yeah, I just put straight up cheese in my vodka. I am a monster.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle? Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Perfect.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Well, I guess the only one that we can't do is the one with the collectible. I guess that would make sense. Yes, I did take a screenshot of this, although it didn't yell at me for it or do anything.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable...
Should we just restart?
Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your...
As Stanley lifted his bucket, he felt a connection to all buckets everywhere. This adventure, he decided, was for all of them. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Oh, it doesn't go up. Damn. All right. I can't think of anything else. Got the birds. I think we did everything in here. No bucket list joke. I don't think. I guess this is the same. Sorry, before I clicked on it, I forgot what we had done here.
All of his co-workers were gone.
I'm sure there are other
What could it
things,
mean?
but...
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
So we can't take the bucket past the no bucket room. We went through both ways beyond that. We did all of the correct direction. Can't think of anything else. I did. I just tried. Maybe it's not with the bucket? I did. I was just there. Is there something that you need to...
When Stanley came to
Unless
a set
you mean
of
the
two
elevator
open
that doesn't go
doors,
anywhere.
He entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a
Oh,
wave
back up
of
after.
disbelief,
Oh.
Stanley decided
I
to
misunderstood.
go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible,
faster
he
with a
didn't
bucket.
even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
I hope it's vodka with cheese.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow! I'm bolted to the edge of my seat. Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this? Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me. Oh my God, it's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process. All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Shit.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Did I hit the end of the elevator dialogue? Oh, nope.
You know what? I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you. Which is why, oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here.
Woo. Oh, yes,
Okay,
I remember this.
the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Or maybe I don't. Maybe this is something that I don't remember. World peace, baby.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling.
I was thinking
and what
it was
means to craft a truly unpredictable
the other white
narrative.
room museum type thing.
You'll do great. Just be yourself and speak.
That I don't
from the
remember how to
heart.
get to.
I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, it looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
Thanks for showing me that cool skateboard trick in the parking lot. You are too cool. Good luck on stage. Rock on. Break a leg, champ. No one tells stories the way you do. Go get 'em, Tiger. I love the way you ride elevators. Stanley, me, dad. Age 6. I think. David? Stanley, my true love for you grows every day. You make me feel alive. Your wife from the apartment ending. Wow. I did forget how to get the apartment ending. I don't remember that. Was that the broom closet? Was that doing more with the broom closet? All right. Well, it's about that time for me, and I'm getting a low blood sugar dip. We should. Oh man, that was so long though. All right, I don't want to do it tonight. I'm gonna wrap it up here for tonight so I can go eat some dinner. Assuming Grid comes home with cheese and or ginger beer. I guess we'll find out. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really appreciate it. I will definitely be back tomorrow. I won't have to stay late and then have the person I'm waiting for not show up. So that'll be cool. But anyway, thank you for hanging out with me. I'll catch you next time. Have a good night, friendos.